Welcome to the 199th episode of the Completely Unnecessary Podcast.
Too many episodes.
Aging Before Your Eyes, alongside Ian Ferguson. I am Pat Contry. Wow, we got to see you podcast like never before.
We literally are aging before their eyes.
Yeah, we are. It's been a while since we started the podcast. Wow.
I feel like I've aged 15 years in the past 5 or 6 or however many.
I don't know if it's because of me or not. Maybe a couple of years. On the show today, we're talking about Nintendo PlayStation up for auction. PS5 may be very expensive. StarCraft Ghost demo leaks online. Nintendo opening airport lounges and Q&A as well. Real quick, Ian.
Sir.
It's been out for a week, getting good reviews. Ian liked it. Not for resale, a video game store documentary. It's available on Vimeo at 4K. Support us on Vimeo because Amazon takes a big chunk. It's on Amazon, though, if you want to watch on Amazon. Or you can get the Blu-ray and digital download at notforresalemovie.com right there. All the kids are talking about it.
They are.
All the kids.
Lots of kids online just chatting away about it.
The Reddit trailer had 1,000 upvotes yesterday. So there you go. So people, it's interesting the conversations that people are having don't even talk about the movie. It's more like,
What's a Reddit trailer?
The trailer on Reddit.
Oh, okay.
There's a Reddit stream, a Reddit thread with the trailer. But it's interesting that a lot of the people just immediately go to why digital sucks when they even hear the movie being brought up, or they go into a debate about, well, these game stores are charging too much money for these games, and it has nothing to do with what's in the movie, like almost at all. But it's fine. It starts a conversation at least. And so the movie is going to be shown at PAX East, February 28th, 8 p.m. at the Bobcat Theater. It's also going to be shown, Ian, announced today at GDC, Developers Game Developers Conference.
Yes.
Not DGC. I can't think to this morning. Ian sees it. It's going to be shown. It's kicking off the GDC Film Festival. It's going to be that Monday in the afternoon, I believe, at like 1:30 on March 16th there. So if you're at GDC in San Fran, check it out. It's also going to be at Midwest Gaming Classic. April 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Along with me, I will be there as well. There. So, good news there. Ian, did you check out the NBA All-Star game?
I saw a little bit of it, yeah. I was out Sunday night. It was good.
The fourth quarter was very entertaining.
Yeah, it was.
They actually play like it was a real game that mattered. And
I haven't seen that in forever.
Never. And I guess it helped because the kids that they were playing for charity for each quarter, the way the NBA All-Star game worked this year, people don't know, is that they basically divided the game into four quarters, and they reset the score after the first, second, and third quarters. So whoever won those individual quarters, I think, raised $100,000 for the charity. But the kids for both charities, for both teams, were literally sitting around the court. So so the pressure was on. If I was a millionaire looking at these kids that wanted a buck for like a school book, yes, I'm going to play harder probably. And then at the fourth quarter, what they did to honor Kobe Bryant and also to change it up, I believe Chris Paul had the idea, was reported, that they took the cumulative scores from the third quarter, so they did count the individual quarters, and then they added 24 points to the highest score of whatever team had it, so it was to that score. So it ended up being the first team to 157 points. So it was an incredible game because it was like watching a game on the streets or at a park, because it's like playing the 21. So like they were complaining about the fouls being called, and people were taking charges in an all-star game. You don't see that happen. And playing defense. Giannis had 2 big blocks on LeBron in the fourth, and defense was being played, and it was fun. It was fun.
The weather in your house today is weird.
It's like balmy.
I don't know. I've gone from hot to cold twice since I've been here.
Really?
Something's
going on.
Yeah.
Is it Luigi? Because Luigi can't figure out who clogged the toilet behind you?
Can't figure out how to work the fucking thermostat.
I turned off the heat, Ian.
No, I'm not. I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, it's ghosts, obviously. I believe in ghosts now.
You do believe in ghosts now? Because
now I do, because of the weird weather patterns in your house.
Even though this house has no ghosts, because I would feel it if they did. So no. Okay. And real quick, Ian, before we get into talking about a real movie series that might happen, or a movie, I've been on a Police Academy kick the last 4 days for some
good old reason. Steve Guttenberg.
Steve.
When
Guttenberg,
is he out of those? Isn't he
after 4?
After 4. Okay.
I've gotten into the Police Academy lore the past weekend, like researching about what's been going on.
A Police Academy deep dive.
Yes, because it's interesting. There are characters that weave in and out throughout the series.
Yeah.
There's what's the guy's name? Fackler, who's like the dorky guy in the first 2.5. Then they replace him with Sweet Chuck, the very short actor. Mm-hmm. But then he comes back Fackler comes back for the 6th one. They bring him back. It's like,
I'm saying nodding my head like I actually know any of this shit.
But the point is that like there's a lore to it, and there's things that happen in every Police Academy movie that's so strange. Like there's a random blonde love interest in like every movie for the most part that changes every movie. And so Gutenberg's not in Police Academy 5, Mission Miami Beach, but they replace him with like a Steve Gutenberg light. A Commandant Lassard, you know what Commandant Lassard is. He's a goofy, funny guy who likes golfing and goldfish. His like nephew takes Gutenberg's place, I guess, because Gutenberg dropped that. So then he's in 5 and 6 instead of Gutenberg.
I like Steve Gutenberg, but Steve Gutenberg's kind of light to begin with.
Yes, you could say Steve Gutenberg's like a Bill Murray light-ish sort of character.
Man, that's a lot of... I don't want to be mean to Steve.
I don't mind Steve Gutenberg. He's like a lighter version of Bill Murray.
I don't know that I ever would have brought up Bill Murray and Steve Gutenberg.
But they portray the same sort of like earnest but still sarcastic protagonist.
That's fair.
I'm thinking of like Ghostbusters. He's like... So the whole point is that it's an insane series of movies because they came out with one a year for 6 years. 84 through 89, there was a Police Academy movie every year. I don't think you're ever going to see that again with any movie, having like one per year. Even like Scary, even Saw didn't do one a year after a while. And even like the Fast and Furious, like every 2 to 3 years. It was the Fast and Furious of the 80s, Police Academy.
How many? Yeah, you're right. How many police academies were there?
They did 7.
That's what I thought.
They did Mission Moscow in 94. By that point, though, it was done. They got rid of, like, in that one, Hightower wasn't in it anymore. Hooks wasn't in it anymore. So they basically, Michael Winslow was still in it. So the core characters were gone. There's like the 4 or 5 core characters that are in just about all of them. It's Fast and Furious of the 80s. That's what I came to the conclusion of. Just about every character is in, like, of the cores in the first 5 or 6.
They released a DVD set with 4 of them. 4 film favorites. Police Academy 1 through 4 collection on DVD, released in 2009. First 4 films. First 2 films are on their own discs, and then 3 and 4 just shared a double-sided DVD.
The weird thing, other thing about these movies is that in the mid-'80s is when we got PG-13. I think it was 84 is when PG-13 came to light. So you had nudity. The first movie was rated R. The first movie had more like gags and sexual stuff than the rest. Then they went to PG-13 for the second one. There was nudity in the first 10 minutes of the PG-13. 2 girls on the beach. There's like a guy riding a truck. They get up and they're topless for like a full second. You're like, you wouldn't see that anymore.
Oh no, the ratings have changed
a lot in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And then also they changed the bad guys too in the second and third movie. It was Sergeant Commander Mauser in the second and third one with Proctor. So he's naked with his butt. There's a joke. The most famous joke out of Police Academy 2 is that they super glue his hands to his head in the shower.
Yeah.
He comes out. You see his bare ass. PG-13. And then in Police Academy 4, I know the lore. Police Academy 4 is PG by that point. It's PG.
I mean, this isn't really lore. This is just
deep dive. Just PG. Mm-hmm. The buxom, tough blonde Callahan, who all the guys are slobbering after. She goes in the pool to train for citizens on patrol. They're training the citizens. She jumps in the pool.
That's right.
With a white T-shirt, and she comes up. Who wants to rescue me? And you can see everything. And this is a PG movie. And of course, all the male recruits dive in and like chase after her. I'm like, you don't see this nudity in PG movies anymore. Like you just don't. PG, like Ian said, it was different for a while. It was just PG and R and G. Now PG-13, you can blow someone's head off and who cares?
Right.
But don't show a boob or a butt. Like that's that's unnatural.
Never a nipple.
Never a nipple. That's the
motto.
So what I was gonna come down to is that I got caught in the Police Academy like vortex for some reason, and now I want to see a reboot with Steve Gutenberg come back, which they're planning, and he'll be like the Commandant role probably.
I was gonna say that. I mean, it's bound to happen.
But that was a big series in the 80s. We forget about that. Like that was a huge series of movies because they were cheap. They're harmless. I wouldn't say they're funny. They're like harmless movies. No one gets shot. It's goofy police people, and there was a cartoon that was on for a couple of years too.
Yeah.
And a toy line. Sorry, Ian. I'm sorry I deep dived into Police Academy, but I hadn't thought about Police Academy in like 20 years. And then I was like, okay, this is a thing again. I'm in. And Kim Cattrall was in the first one, and Sharon Stone was in the fourth one.
I knew Kim Cattrall was in the first one. I did not know about Sharon Stone in the fourth one. And the thing is, I know I've seen the fourth one because you said that's the Citizens one.
That's
right?
where the series probably peaked in popularity. Where people are like, "Oh, this is like a big series."
Yeah, I swear. I mean, I've seen the first 4.
That's where you can
I don't
stop.
think I ever saw 5, 6, or 7.
You don't need it. 5 was the worst one because 5 they literally said, let's go to a hotel resort in Florida and we'll film our entire movie there. It was really cheap. Miami Beach. I know why Gutenberg decided to step out. Plus he was doing 3 Men and a Baby at that point, and that was like gigantic, those movies. So come back, Steve Gutenberg.
Yeah.
What happened to Steve Gutenberg?
I don't know.
Harmless.
Yeah.
He was a good actor for those roles.
So
sorry, Ian.
I saw a movie this past week.
Wasn't Police Academy 4?
Was not
Citizens
Police
on Patrol?
Academy 4, Police on Patrol. I saw the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I would have been there on opening night even without the remake. For those who may not know, my wife is a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan.
Without the remake, mean the redesign?
Yeah, without the redesign.
Okay.
She's a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan. Loves that little guy. Has every issue of the comic, every single issue of the comic, all the covers. The
Foil variant.
The house is full of Sonic the Hedgehog memorabilia. So even with the original monster, the lanky,
The human teeth version.
the I'm going through puberty right now all at once model of Sonic the Hedgehog,
You would have been there.
we would have been there. We would have
Okay.
had to have seen it. But they did the redesign and we went, and I was not expecting anything from it. I was expecting it to be bad. And well, you know what? It was actually pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Okay.
And I guarantee you in the comments section right now, people are going to be losing their mind about me saying it's good. I have a feeling some people are going to... People always think I hate everything. Well, I didn't hate the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I didn't hate the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It has nothing to do with the games.
Nothing.
Like, whatsoever. I mean, very, very little. I mean,
Okay.
there's no Chaos Emeralds or anything like that. I mean, there's Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey.
Is there a reference to the Chaos Emeralds?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But, I mean, it doesn't take place in the video game world. It doesn't take place in the zones. It doesn't take place on Angel Island. It takes place on Earth. And I shouldn't say it has nothing to do with the games, but this is how it works. By taking the character, giving the character a good voice actor in Ben Schwartz, and kind of sticking it into this template movie. It's a buddy road trip movie.
Sure.
They sidestepped one of the biggest problems I think that comes about with video game movies, and that is trying to find a way to make a video game story work on film.
Sure.
Which it oftentimes doesn't. The film is very from point A to point B. It moves fast. It's non-complicated. Well, yeah. It's
It's a road trip movie, right?
yeah.
That's how it's structured?
It's non-complicated. It moves fast. It's a very simple film.
They gotta get from point A to point B with some stops along the way.
Yeah, and that works. Like I said, it's not like, a faithful dramatic retelling of, the comic books or anything like that.
Without giving away spoilers, is there a reason why they have to like ride in a truck across the U.S. versus Sonic just like, going quickly?
Yes, so
give a
he
reason for
doesn't know where San Francisco is.
Okay.
And initially what happens is he gets shot in the legs with a tranquilizer gun, so he can't run. But he doesn't know where it is, and the cop knows where it is, so the cop's driving him there.
That's
and they have to get to San Francisco because he has this is all the setup of the movie. The gold rings are gateways
to Sonic's land.
Basically, he escaped from his land in the opening, and then he's been living on planet Earth in secrecy, spying on the people in this local town.
So it's like an E.T. movie. It's an alien movie almost.
Yeah, basically, he opens the gate after he gets shot in the leg with the tranquilizer, and he drops the rings through it. And he drops them to San Francisco because he thinks of San Francisco because the guy's wearing a San Francisco shirt. Okay. Anyways, so they have to drive and go get it. But yeah, I mean,
And Robotnik wants it because then he can go.
Robotnik is government, and
government force. Then he can get the rings to use as a power source or what have you.
You're right, exactly.
Okay. It's fine. It's a device. It's a way to get a Sonic movie made for as cheaply as you can probably do it.
But yeah, I mean, there were jokes that hit. There were jokes that definitely didn't hit.
So good voice acting.
Yeah, good. Ben Schwartz was great. Tom Marsden was good.
James Marsden.
James Marsden was good, and Jim Carrey was fantastic.
Yeah, Carrey looked like he was carrying it in the trailers. Like
I mean, he was fantastic.
it was 90s Jim Carrey again, basically.
And Marsden was good too, especially considering that he was acting off of something that was not there for the majority of his filming.
Sure, they're probably cueing him lines or what have you.
Right. So yeah, it was enjoyable. They set it up for a potential sequel.
Was there a Tails cameo?
Yes, there was a Tails cameo.
In the beginning?
No, at the end.
At the end?
Spoilers. It's the post-credit scene, and people lost their shit in the theater. And if you see, well,
I mean, like, you didn't expect that to happen, though? I mean,
I think the big thing was, A, Tails looked good. And B, it's the voice actress that's done his voice, I think, since Sonic Adventure. So it's it's a big nod to the fan community.
But they didn't use the Sonic voices.
No, they didn't. So it's the voice that they were expecting. Yeah.
Will the sequel be in Sonic's land?
I have a feeling that they'll probably do that. Yeah,
they'll
find a way to go into something a bit more imaginative.
They'll find a way to spend money to have a whole animated world.
Yeah,
this was like the tease. This was the test to see if people want to see a Sonic movie for as cheap as we can probably do it. And now we'll do a full movie.
There was amusing little knocks at Mario Brothers throughout.
Really?
Well, the place that he could escape Earth to, if it got to be bad enough that he needed to escape. That was the whole point. He was going to go to this next planet where his whatever, he'd be safe and Earth would be safe. It's a boring mushroom planet with nothing but mushrooms.
That's what they. Yeah, that's not a shot. That's funny.
It's a cute little reference. Yeah.
So they're already bringing like a video game cinematic universe potential with that. They're gonna have Mario versus Sonic.
A lot of Olive Garden references. That was unfortunate.
What do you mean? Because that was a sponsor of the movie?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, Olive Garden very much was making money.
Was it as bad as Super Man of Steel, where like there's an IHOP that they go to? Like,
I mean, it's bad. It's bad.
They show up.
Olive Garden is mentioned twice.
Do they eat at Olive Garden?
No, they do not eat at. But just one step shy of that. Yes.
It's like, I wish I had some breadsticks now.
Kind of. Yeah.
God,
kind of.
We've gotten so far from like a character just drinking a can of Coke in a scene to like now shoehorning in, and it's like it's not even like it's IHOP and Olive Garden. It's not like these like marquee franchises.
It was bad in Captain Marvel too. I think people were just like, because it tied
Blockbuster.
But
that Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore, though.
Right.
Really. So
that's true. Yeah. It's Radio Shack. Yeah, you're right. They don't. Well, Radio Shack does.
It does. They got stores still.
And
there's like one Blockbuster left, but that's not a franchise. It's an individually owned store. So.
Anyways, it was an utterly forgettable movie, but it was fun to watch in the theater, which is more than I would have expected from it. And as a person,
your bar was so low.
Yes.
You just tiptoed over it.
Yeah, I walked out happy. And honestly, I enjoyed Detective Pikachu for what it was, but Detective Pikachu, because it tried to get a little bit ambitious with its plot at the end and got a little bit weird and fucky.
With the people transforming and everything?
Yeah, and all that. I would actually say Sonic was probably the better movie of the two.
Wow.
Yes. I want to live. I want to live more in the Pokemon world, but honestly, I think with all of its simplicity, the Sonic movie was more enjoyable.
To you, okay?
Yeah.
I saw Detective Pikachu on a plane. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it too.
Knowing next to nothing about it. And I liked how they made the world like a breathing, living, breathing world. Or this is just like, well, we'll just have half our scenes probably shot in the truck because it's cheap, and then we'll have Sonic get into trouble a few times in the movie and have a finale, right?
Yeah, that's more or less.
Yes, I can write the movie blindfolded.
That's basically it.
So the budget was $85 million. I'm not sure if that includes all the rework. From what I heard, though, not a lot of the work was done, so they didn't have to actually spend a huge amount of money more.
Right.
Because that trailer came out so long ago that you don't like do the design in one scene and then just you have to do the individual work on different scenes. So so $85 million. If that's the case, we'll just say that the marketing budget was like 30 to 40 million, probably, or something like this. So we'll just say they put $120 million to this. That means they got to break a $250 million to break even on this movie. And there's a chance There's a chance worldwide it's at 113 million after the first weekend, so they're like halfway there.
Yeah, they were almost they were only projecting 40 million. 40 million is what I was reading they would have been happy
US.
with in the US, and I think they were on track to hit 57 or something. So it's exceeding Paramount's expectations.
Yeah, if I look at the Box Office Mojo by the Daily, I love Box Office Mojo. What a great site. Yeah, and Thursday, let's see. Let's see, Sonic. Yeah, Sonic did 21 million on Friday and 20 and a half. We'll just say another 21 million, 40. It did 57 million over the weekend.
I do think some of that is probably a feeling of goodwill. I saw a lot of people online saying that they were going to go see it. They weren't necessarily excited to, but they were going to go see it because they said if Sonic was redesigned, they'd go see it. And I saw that was something that I saw a number of times on Twitter, and people did. So...
All right, man.
Maybe that worked.
I could be wrong because I thought that would make a difference. I thought it's like, I think people are going to see this no matter what, either way.
I think they probably would have, but I'm just saying what I saw.
Okay.
What I read.
They also got the fourth day because I keep forgetting yesterday was President's Day, so a lot of people had off. So I made 12 million on a Monday. I was like, why did I make 12 million on a Monday? That's insane. So it had a benefit of a 4-day weekend. So there's going to be a drop off. It's just that. I think when you probably put in the endorsements and everything, this will probably turn a profit. I just don't know how much it's going to turn. Of a profit. We'll see. But it probably exceeded everyone's expectations. Like I said, the experts, I think, said 40 million. So yeah, it did like almost 50% better, pat math, on there. I was surprised when I read that it did more money than the Detective Pikachu's first weekend. Yeah. That was surprising because I think, that's a bigger property.
It is, but I mean, I don't think.
Or was that too weird of a movie for some people? Maybe.
No, I think it goes back to the original Sonic model and the redesign. I don't think that it was a work per se, but I think all of that focus on it probably kept it fresh in people's minds.
Gotcha.
It wasn't announced dead time released. It was announced, and then it was, we were hearing about it from they
got free marketing dollars by announcing.
Right.
So conspiracy, this worked out in its benefit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that this maybe did work out for the best.
The outrage, the outrage worked out. Rotten Tomatoes, it's fresh, barely, but it's fresh, 64%. The consensus is fittingly fleet and frequently fun. Sonic the Hedgehog is a video game-inspired adventure the whole family can enjoy, and a fine excuse for Jim Carrey to tap into the manic energy that launched his career. Is that pretty much?
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly what I would say. It's funny because while I could definitely see this getting a bad review, some of the bad reviews, I feel like...
They were harmless? They were just like...
Well, no, the bad reviews went out of their way to make it seem like it was like the worst movie ever. And I'm like, I don't know what movie. I think some people had the impression that they were just dead set on that's what it was going to be. And it's like, at worst case scenario, the movie is harmless. That's how I would look at it.
Well, the average rating from the critics was 5.78 out of 10.
Right.
So above average.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. So even if you liked it and gave it a positive on the tomato meter as a reviewer, it's like, yeah, it's like a 6. It's positive. I recommend it, but like barely. That's what it sounds like. It barely got over the hump. I saw some reviews that probably the big strike against it was like you could have done this with this sort of movie with any other sort of character.
But what I'm saying is,
it's like the same family mold of a movie that you just threw Sonic into.
I want people to be adventurous when they make movies, but with video game movies, we haven't even. It's the whole you got to crawl before you walk thing. We've barely started. I mean, they've barely started crawling. By dialing it back, by going this route, I think that was honestly why it succeeded on the level it did.
But I would make the argument that this has a video game character, but since this is not based on any really Sonic games, besides having, it's not truly a video game movie, because if it was, it would take place in Sonic's land, not on Earth. Does that make sense?
That's like saying that the Mario movie isn't a video game movie then, because it's
it's not. The live action one, no, it's not.
They're video game movies.
No, I wouldn't know. That was like you Leguizamo and Hoskins doing some weird ass artsy piece. When you look at the history, like the whole point is just like when
they were high the whole time.
Oh, is that true?
From what I've read, yes, they were constantly high.
They had to be. So the point is that like when the Super Mario Brothers movie comes out, that's going to be like in the Mushroom Kingdom. Sure. It's going to be animated. This to me is not the definition of wow. This can work, because I think if this was another character, it would still be a fun movie. Maybe it wouldn't have done the same box office, but To me, again, it's a fish out of water thing. It's like this when the Smurfs movie, they bring him out of Smurf land and they bring him to Earth. To me, then I have no interest in seeing it anymore because half the movie is like, oh my God, what is that? It's a little blue thing. It's like, that's not why you like the character.
All my respect and love to Andre, but the Smurfs are fucking atrocious.
I never got it. I understand why you could like the Smurfs. I just never personally got it myself.
I can't. I've hated them since I was a kid.
I like the was it the Snorks?
Pro Gargamel.
Snorkels? What are they?
Snorks.
I like the Snorks.
Yeah.
Because they're like underwater, interesting. You like Gargamel and the cat, Azrael?
I mean, he wants to eat the Smurfs or whatever it is.
They want to eat them?
I don't know.
Or just capture them and maybe eat them off screen.
Maybe. Eat them off screen.
Okay. That's still nasty. All right. Well, you can argue with Andre at SoCal Gaming Expo coming up there.
Check out mine and Andre's panel about the Smurfs where we just argue.
Hey, you can do whatever panel you want. I can recommend it to the people running the convention there. All right. Any last thoughts? That's the only thing I'll say is that even the people that recommended I saw on Rotten Tomatoes are like, yeah, it's like it's a copy and paste movie that you could have used any other character. It's a familiar formula, which can work because people like the formula. I'm just sort of, the road trip sort of movie to me though is it's been done so many times that at some point you have to think of another formula to just drop these characters into. But this is a good one. A stunningly above average video game adaptation. That's a good video game movie. That's good. Stunningly above average. It exceeded your lower expectations.
The movie was breathtakingly decent.
Yes, it's a 5.78 out of 10. You're not going to ask for your money back. You're not going to think about walking out. There you go. All right, we're gonna start the main podcast.
Yeah, this is the borderline into main podcast.
If you want out now, the audio, just shut off. You want your Sonic talk? You want out now?